Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
A foul fest inside the dome. Welcome in to Cuse Sports Talk. Post-game coverage as Syracuse comes away with a 91-83 win over Northeastern. Giovanni Heater with you right here on Cuse Sports Talk. Appreciate you hanging out with us, whether you're on your ride home from the JMA Dome, whether you are hanging out at home, out and about doing your Christmas shopping, wherever you may be. Thanks for deciding to spend your Saturday evening with us as the Orange come away with a 91-83 victory. We're on Cuse Sports Talk exclusively here tonight, but with that being said, the phone lines are open. So chime in, come chat with us, talk a little bit of Syracuse basketball. 315-437-7644 is the number to call. That is for ESPN 44, 315-437-7644. Jam-packed post-game show for you right here on CST. We will have Red Autry's live post-game press conference covered right here on Cuse Sports Talk. We got Jordan Capozzi on site at the Dome in the caverns of the JMA, ready to plug us in, hear from Red. That's coming up as soon as Red hits the podium. And we're here taking your calls to talk about Syracuse's 91-83 win over Northeastern. I'll tell you what, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty again for Syracuse in this one, and it was a foul fest that ended up going almost 2.5 hours. Syracuse shoots 48 free throws in this game. 48 free throws. They go 34 of 48 from the stripe. You still miss 14 free throws. So that's not a great spot to be in, missing 14 free throws. But with that being said, you shoot 71%. And I've kind of always said, if you're averaging 56%, that if you hit 70, it's a good night. It's an anomaly type of night, and you feel good about that. So if your average is 56% and you hit 71%, I guess you can't be that upset with it, but you still miss 14 free throws. 48 free throws is a ungodly amount of free throws to shoot in a basketball game. The Orange scored 34 of their 91 points at the charity stripe. On the other side, Northeastern shot 20 free throws, 13 of 20 from the line were the Huskies. Rough offensive night at times for Syracuse. They shoot 51% from the floor, though, in this one. Three-pointers is what continues to plague Syracuse. They can't shoot from beyond the arc. It's just not a strength of this basketball team this year. 25% from beyond the arc, just 3 made three-point field goals in this one, 3 of 12 from beyond the arc. There came a point where Syracuse just kind of stopped shooting the three ball because it wasn't working. 3 of 12 from beyond the arc for Syracuse tonight. That's good for 25%. Struggled to take care of the basketball a little bit again. I was hoping to see them keep it to 8 or less turnovers in the ballgame. They turned it over 11 times. I thought transition defense was a very big strugglesome point for the Orange in this one. A lot of fast break opportunities for Northeastern where Syracuse just was lazy getting back. Just didn't get back in time and allowed transition buckets up the floor for the Huskies. You look exactly in the fast break points department. Northeastern scored 21 of its 83 points on fast breaks. And again, Syracuse just struggled to get back defensively. This was one of the Orange's worst defensive performances after it felt like that was a strength of the team pretty much to the Tennessee game. And then for whatever reason, after that 9-day break after the Tennessee game, the defense stopped being a strength of this Syracuse basketball team. You look at Syracuse's schedule and how many points they've allowed so far game by game. They allow 47 points to Binghamton, 43 points to Delaware State, Meanwhile, those are schools that are similar to the talent level of a Mercyhurst, of a Northeastern, like apples to oranges, really. 47 points to Binghamton, 43 to Delaware State, 50 to Drexel, 73 to Monmouth, felt like an outlier at the moment. 74 to Houston, okay. 71 to Kansas, I get it. 95 to Iowa State, bad half. 60 to Tennessee, felt like you were getting back to your defensive roots. Then 63 to St. Joseph's, fine. 70 to Hofstra, 62 to Mercyhurst, 83 tonight. Again, felt like one of its worst defensive performances. It is the largest point total that Syracuse has allowed all season. 83 points at the hands of the Northeastern Huskies, who I'll remind you Northeastern came into tonight with scoring not being in any stretch of the imagination one of the strengths of this basketball team. They were picked to finish 9th out of 13 in the CAA. Scoring offense for the Huskies, 292nd in the country. Syracuse allowed 11 more points than Northeastern averages a game. They averaged 72 points a game. Syracuse allowed 83 points in this game, 21 of them on fast break transition opportunities. So I really felt like Syracuse did not dig its heels in defensively. For those that need to be caught up, Donnie Freeman missed now his 7th game in a row for Syracuse, did not play tonight against Northeastern, expected to be back for ACC play. That'll be on December 31st, New Year's Eve in the Dome against Clemson. So likely will not play Monday against Stonehill, but is expected to be back against Clemson once again on New Year's Eve in the Dome. Phone lines are open if you want to chime in and chat, get in on the action. 315-437-7644 is the number to call. We're taking your calls. We're chatting Cuse basketball up until we hear and carry Coach Autry's live post-game press conference right here on Cuse Sports Talk. And we will go to those phone lines as soon as we figure out exactly who's calling in. Looks like we got a caller on the line, so I'll let Paul take care of business there, and we'll continue to put a bow on this. Syracuse, like I said, it felt like they got away from the 3-ball in the second half, which did make sense because they were struggling. Only shot 6 3-balls in the second half. Granted, they shot 6 in the first half. But remember how we talked about in the pregame, you would have liked to have seen them prioritize the 2-point shot a little bit more because clearly shooting from beyond the arc was a weakness for them. I did feel like they got away from it a little bit to their own strength, right? It clearly wasn't falling. They didn't pressure it. They didn't overshoot it. Ended up 3 of 12 from beyond the arc. A pretty rough shooting performance, though, from three-point land for Syracuse, and the struggles continue. Let's go to our guy, Pat, in Syracuse. Pat, how we doing?
Good. My take is all good. Like Coach says, we are the best defensive team in the country, and we just simply had an off night. We strive to win championships here, and obviously, we are the best defensive team in the country, or right there, knocking on the door, as Coach said. And we just had an off night. Some guys were sick, and we're without our best player, and I couldn't get the refuel on the juicing station quite right. And, the level 5 was, people were getting confused at points of the game if it was supposed to be a -5 or a +5. So, other than that, everything is fine, because according to Jim Saddleton, we had a consistent effort on offense.
Right, Pat.
And,
there's nothing wrong with our offense. There's nothing wrong with our offense, and there were some dips. There were just some dips. We got to fix the dips, right?
And according to Matt Park, right now it's just survive without Donnie Freeman.
Right.
Donnie Freeman is the savior.
Right.
So everything's good. That's my take. What do you think? It's a lot more fun, right? It's a lot more fun.
It's fun to laugh about it. I appreciate this is an angle that we haven't seen from you, so I appreciate the comedy end of it. Clearly, you thought quite the contrary, though. Obviously.
Yeah, listen. If you were to just look at the talent, come on. I was even surprised that scoring Northeastern. Look, if we don't make our free throws, we lose this game. I mean, it's just to the point where it's a total. I guess the thing I can't figure out is how do you beat these same type of teams by 25, 30, 40 points, and now you're scratching out, last-minute victories against crap teams. I mean, Northeastern is hot garbage. I mean, Hofstra, they're a decent team. They'll probably finish in the top 100. According to all the people with orange glasses on it, if the referee did their job, we would have won the game and everything's good. You know, that's really all it is. The ref missed the call and everything's good. So, hope we get years and years more of this. I think we're blessed as a fan base. These last 5 years have been nothing but joy, and that's all I got for you.
All right, Pat. Well, we appreciate you checking in as always, man. Oh, he even hit the mic drop right there at the end. No, Pat's on it. I mean, he's taking a different angle today, but you can hear the sarcasm in what he has to say, and he's right. He's right. There are some serious glaring issues with this team. And it's a question that's being thrown around in the chat right now, so it's definitely worth addressing. Is Donnie Freeman the answer to all the problems? I'm going to say no. And there was a point in time where I certainly thought that this team was going to look a lot better, be a lot better with Donnie Freeman on the floor. I do think that the numbers will start to get closer to where they were defensively with Donnie Freeman on the floor, only because you look at what Syracuse did when Donnie was playing defensively versus what they have now done without Donnie Freeman, and there is quite the contrast. The Monmouth game, a little bit of an outlier, but at the same time, remember, Donnie was playing banged up in that one to begin with. That was the last game he played in. With Donnie Freeman, and it's a very small sample size, but Binghamton, Delaware State, and Drexel might as well be similar talent level to St. Joseph's, Hofstra, Mercyhurst, and Northeastern. Like, put them all in the same basket. And you allowed 47 points, 43 points, 50 points. Now to St. Joseph's, Hofstra, Mercyhurst, and Northeastern, you've allowed 63, 69, 62, and 83. I do think that you can get the defensive numbers somewhere closer to that 63 to 69 range against a team like this, and you're not going to allow 83 points to a Northeastern with Donnie Freeman on the floor defensively. That being said, it felt so much more like an effort thing tonight in particular than it ever has really any other night this season, and that's not a Donnie fix. Now, he is their vocal leader guy, but like not getting back defensively and allowing these layups and dunks up the floor with 21 points on fast breaks, that's where your problems come from. It wasn't level 5, if that's what we want to continue to call it, right? Red Autry's mantra this season. There was a lot of non-level 5 effort on defense tonight for Syracuse. Offensively, I mean, Donnie's definitely a threat to score. He's their leading scorer at 17 points a game. He's going to help in the rebounding department. You look at the rebounding numbers tonight between the two teams. Syracuse wins the rebound battle 38-33. So you win it by 5 rebounds. Offensive rebound-wise, you get one more offensive rebound, 18 of them, 17 of them on the other side. You allow 16 second-chance points, though, for Northeastern. You had 18 offensive rebounds, only scored 12 second-chance points off of them tonight. So, again, Donnie's not going to fix everything. I do think there will be improvements that you see. I do think Donnie will help the team be better because he's probably their best player. But it's not a fix-all. It's not a NCAA tournament team solidified, stamp it. Like, the damage is kind of done right now. Like, this is another metric hurting game. You won by 8 against a team that's ranked very, very deep into the 200s in the net rankings, right? Like, this is a metric tanking type win because of that separation, scoring margin factor into this whole thing. Let's go back to the phone lines. We got Jordan in Connecticut. Jordan, how we doing?
How you doing? I'm 15. I haven't called in much before, but I just wanted to talk about the game. Diehard Cuse fan.
Yeah, welcome, Jordan. Appreciate you calling in, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. I just wanted to talk about the offense.
Yeah.
Because I play basketball. I'm on my JV team for high school.
Okay.
And I'm watching the game, and it's one screen. It's one high screen, pick and roll. If someone can get to the hoop, go to the hoop. If not, pass back out and do the same thing over again. It looks like the same offense my high school is running. And it seems like every time they just can't get a bucket. It's a forced bucket with 10 seconds left, and the only time they can actually score is on fast break.
There you go. Jordan, you're preaching to the choir of our chat. Everyone in the chat saying kid knows ball, I mean, this is what everybody's been saying for a while now, that they don't run a true offense and that there's not enough movement and not enough screen action and not enough off-ball movement. So, but now you're hearing it from the mouths of the youth, right? We got Jordan, who's rocking JV hoops. Jordan, what position you play, by the way?
I play power forward, small forward. I'm like 6'1".
There we go. We got a forward breaking it down for us. Jordan, that's more basketball at a higher level than I even ever played, so I'm going to trust you on this one. And if Jordan's saying that they're not running enough of a complex offense, I'm going to believe it. I am.
Other thing is, I mean, yeah, Donnie's big. Donnie's a big factor. But I really don't think Donnie's a sophomore. Yes, he could be a very good NBA prospect. I don't think one person is going to change the direction of this team by barely being Northeastern and losing by 1 to Hofstra.
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't think Donnie's going to fix everything by any stretch of the imagination. I think it will be nice for them to have their best player back, but I don't think it's a fix-all, save the season type of re-addition, especially because you're adding him in first game of conference play in such an important game. Like, I could actually see there being struggles in that first game for Donnie, for everybody, because now you're throwing him into the mix against a quad 2, fringe quad 1 opponent who's always tough, plays pesky defense. That's kind of the MO of Clemson and Brad Brownell. And now you're throwing him into that mix. Like, I could see Syracuse really struggling, particularly on the offensive side of the ball in that game, Jordan.
That's exactly what I've been saying. Give Donnie 3-4 minutes in the game. Okay, if he can do it, if he can run, play a little. We should be killing these teams anyways, and at the end of the game, Donnie should be able to play a few minutes. The fact that we can't even get him out there just to get him warmed up for ACC play is just awful.
Yeah, go ahead.
And there's one more thing.
Yeah.
The dribbling. It was just the offense and the dribbling. It's just. There's only 3 bright spots.
Needed it, but like I've said all year, and we've said it from the beginning, I've stressed defense and, not at the expense of our offense, where we put up some numbers today, but it was at the expense of our defense. I personally, is disappointed in our defensive effort. We got to get back to the fundamentals of keeping people in front of us. I know we lost the ball, lost sight of the man when they killed their dribble. So just things that we got to get back to. We just haven't been able to get our defense of intensity sustained since we've been back from, since the Tennessee game, to be honest with you. So we got to get that back. We got to continue to work on that, get that grit, that toughness that we had. And again, keep improving on offense. Again, these guys, I thought Tyler Betsy was huge off the bench, gave us a huge lift. Nathan George, big time, 22 points and 6 assists, 1 turnover, but 12 and 14 from the free throw line. I thought that was huge, and we needed them, and they all stepped up. Cayenne as well. They stepped up at the end to make those. So we got to continue to improve. We got to get our energy back on defense and our focus back on defense. I thought the first half we were on our way to doing that. In the second half, it just, we lost focus. We got up 14, and then we kind of lost focus. We got to continue to work on that.
What led to the defensive lapses in the second half? What did you see?
I think again we stopped. paying attention off the ball. I thought when they drove it a couple of times and they stopped and reverse pivot, we kind of lost our man, whether it's a cut or whether it was, a kick out three. And then we didn't get the 50-50 balls. Those are the things that we didn't. They got 17 offensive rebounds. And a lot of those, we know how the game goes. If you don't get those rebounds, they normally end up in 3 points. And, our objective was to guard them on the three-point line. The first half we did. The second half, I think we gave up seven of them. So we just got to do a better job of paying attention and keeping people in front of us. They had too much drive and penetration. We didn't do a good job of keeping guys in front of us.
Coach, you said that you need to be more focused in the second half. How do you get your team focused coming out of the locker room?
I thought we were. Again, the way we ended the first half, even though they made the shot, we held them to 31 points. So we were on pace. And then, we came out in the second half, thought we got up to about 14, and then, we let them back in. We can't do that. I think, that's the biggest thing that we've struggled with, in a while. Even with the games that we've won, we've been up, we've kind of had that dip a little bit. So we got to continue to work on that. They know that. I'm challenging these guys every day with that, and we just got to, keep getting better with this. Try to get better with this.
Coach, you talked about dips in the last couple of games you lost the second half. Is there something about your message that you feel isn't getting through to them about needing to maintain focus, needing to play at level 5?
I think the message is getting through. They you can talk to them. They understand. We're very informative of the timestamps and the things that we're doing and how we've we break everything down to them so that at the end of the day. They have to start stepping up and taking accountability as well. Obviously I'm the head coach, but the players have some responsibility as well. And, and that's what my job is, to keep challenging them on that and, get them through that. And I think, they understand that more and more now, because this is like 2 or 3 games that we've had this. And so, we'll continue to show them the film, show them the timestamps, give them information, and keep pushing and coaching them. Me and my staff, we got to be able to push through that, because it's taken away from some of the stuff that we're doing well. It really is. Like, we get up to 14, 16, or things like that, and we just, we kind of lose focus. And we got to push through that.
Coach, you talked about Nate George. He shot only 16 free throws the first 10 games. I think he's at 19 the last 2. How is his aggressiveness and ability to get to the line just help you guys?
We needed everything today. I thought, again, we put a lot of pressure on the rim. When you talk about our offense, we try to put pressure on the rim by penetrations, rim runs, and then kick it out. But he was big for us today. I thought he controlled the game, especially late. The ball was in his hand. He made the right plays. He got, he was strong with the ball, got to the foul line and knocked him down. And, we need Nate George to play that way. Confident.
You lost the points in the paint battle. 40-36. How do you, number one, how does that happen, and how do you fix it? I
thought we got, I thought they were more active to the ball. I thought their big men were more active. Our guys were, we just couldn't scrape those out. They moved, they got the loose balls, deflections. I thought they did a good job of finishing around the paint, but it's just not, our big guys. It's really 5 guys. A lot of those rebounds were kind of outside that paint, and we got to rebound together, all 5 guys, and we talk about that. So continually just trying to reinforce that and working on that and making that a point of emphasis as we move forward in the season.
Coach, from the line, 93% in the first half, not the best showing in the second half of the line, but down the stretch, the guys were clutch the line. But how do you build that consistency from the line, from an excellent first half to a whole game of that?
We just got to keep working on it. We got to keep working on our free throws, and we've been doing that as of lately, and you're starting to see, some payoff. For the game, we shot 70%. Let me make sure that's right, 70.8. So we'll make sure that's right. And so we just got to keep staying at it and working at it. And again, I got to give my guys credit. When it counted, they stepped up and made it. So I think that's something that you pull from as well. You reinforce that, right? Because free throw shooting is about repetition and confidence. And they all stepped up today and made them.
You talk about the 5, you talk about the 3 defensive stops in a row. How frustrating is it for you to have the team play defense the way they have the last 3 or 4 games?
Yeah, very frustrated, very frustrating. But, you got to keep challenging them and pushing them. They have to get better. They have to get better. We have to get better as a coaching staff. And as players, they have to do their job as well. So we're just going to keep, rolling our sleeves up and going to work every day to get better.
So we had a little
little more clarity on when Donnie's coming back. Red against Clemson, just how did you come up with that plan for them to build up, and the timing would be good to be back?
Yeah, that wasn't me. That was the doctors and the medical people. They come up with that timeline. So, I had, I was informed of that as well.
What is he going to bring to the table that maybe you're not getting now when he comes back?
Well, I think you get another guy that can obviously space the floor, a guy that can, step out, a guy that can rebound, a versatile defender, a guy that can kind of score inside. And, he's a pretty good free throw shooter too. So again, a guy that can capitalize and space the floor. And I think it's just going to open a lot of things up for the rest of the guys, the Will Kyles and the Nate Georges and JJ. So, he's a big part of what we do. So I think his spacing will be, important for us. And he's a guy that, that can, defensively, that can, gives us some versatility. We can change lineups, play different lineups with him. So, we'll be excited to get him back when he comes back.
Was it three-point shooting tonight? Is that kind of a concern for you, or how do you get the guys going?
Yeah, we got to make shots. That definitely is a concern. We got to make shots. I thought we got some good shots. I thought we got some good looks, and we didn't cash them in. So we have to make those. So in order for us to try to, continue to improve, we have to make open shots. And we got some today. We just didn't make them.
Coach, you're talking about players have to take accountability. How does that manifest itself? Does it mean less playing time? Does it mean possibly not starting? What does that mean in terms of players taking accountability? How do you...
I mean, these guys, they know what they can do. They've all shown that they can, do a better job, in particular tonight, of this game right here. I thought our guys can do a better job of keeping people in front. So we'll sit down and we'll talk to them and we'll challenge them and continue to challenge them. And, if we don't see any progress, then, we have to, as a coaching staff, make decisions, but, I think they will come around.
Adrian, when you look at bench scoring today, 32 to 18, and just overall what you've seen out of your bench so far this season?
I thought Tyler Betsy and today he really he was a little sick the last couple of days. I thought he really came out with a pop and some energy. And then Cayenne, he's been pretty consistent for us. So that's the one thing I believe this team is. This team does have depth, and we can have people come off the bench and score. But my biggest focus right now was getting us to get back to playing defense like we were earlier in the year. I don't want to again. I don't want to sacrifice, our defense for our offense, because I think this team is good enough to do both, and so, we really have to refocus on that and hammer that in as we finish up.
Brad, how do you strike that balance between, making sure that you're pressing on defense and also, able to put up, lots of points on offense? Like, have you been able to, in practice, kind of strike that balance? Have you seen that yet?
Yeah, again, we spend a lot of time in the film. We do a lot of challenging our players and showing them and seeing where we can get better at in these areas. And then it has to translate in the game. And so far, we came out the second half. We made a nice little run. We started making some separation, and then, that's what we start talking about. Hey, this is the time that now we have to, really dig in and focus on that. Naturally, players, they offensive people. They love to score. The challenge for every coach is, to get that balance. So, we just got to keep, working at it. And then again, if they can't respond, then we'll have to make some adjustments from there.
Time for one more. Coach, just going back to the free throws, you guys shot season high 48 today. Do you feel like you're nearing where you want to be when it comes to the free throw line, or is there still a lot?
I'm never satisfied. My players will tell you that. I'm never satisfied. So, I think, I always think that my players can get better. As a coach, that's my job to get them better, and our staff. And again, we've made a huge jump from, probably the last 3 or 4 games from shooting that. But I still think we can continue to improve. As a coach, it never satisfies. You're always trying to push to get them better. So I do think we can continue to improve on the free throw shooting. But I will acknowledge that, they've made that jump in the last couple of games. So, it's good to see that. Now we just got to, it's like, we improve here, then we go down here, we improve in this and we go down to that. So we got to get that balance, and that'll be the challenge for us going forward. Thank you.
All right, there he is. Head coach of the Orange, Adrian Autry, with his thoughts after the ball game. Lot to unpack there. All right, I think most notably, the biggest thing to me was what he had to say about Donnie Freeman. The question was asked, what is Donnie going to bring back to the mix when he does return for Syracuse, right? And I quoted exactly what he said, a little bit of paraphrasing here, but something along the lines of, he brings a guy that can step out, space the floor, good free throw shooter. He opens things up for the rest of the guys on offense. His spacing's going to be really big for us. He gives lineup versatility on defense. That's what he had to say about Donnie Freeman. But even Red didn't say anything that alluded to, okay, Donnie's the savior. Donnie's saving this team. Donnie is the missing token. Donnie's what's not working right now for Syracuse. I don't think Donnie coming back into the mix is going to be a fix-all, save-all for Syracuse going forward. Let's go back to those phone lines. If you want to chime in and chat about Cuse basketball before we wrap up the show, phone lines are open. 315-437-7644 is the number to call. That's 4 ESPN 44. And we got David in Syracuse. David, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? Happy holidays to you guys.
Happy holidays to you as well.
I'm gonna try to be optimistic. I want everybody to be optimistic. Syracuse always tends to play down to its opponents. I think this team plays to win. I mean, yeah, they played down to its opponents, but they took care of business. I'm an old guy. I'm an old saying kind of a guy. Win is a win is a win, no matter how ugly it is. A win is a win. We took care of business. We got the job done. I know for metrics it may hurt us because we didn't win by as much as we should have, but win is a win is a win. I'll take this win. I'm happy.
All right. Well, we appreciate you chiming in, David. And, you know, that's the glass half full. That's the glass half full approach. If you want to look at it that way, win is a win is a win, you know. Power to you. It's tough because, and I'm not gonna tear you down, David. You enjoy the win. You soak in the win. You take the dub. I'm happy for you. My man David is vibing. He's having a great Saturday, ready to rock and roll, feeling good about a Syracuse win. The problem is, though, when the wins look like this sometimes, and I hear you, because the argument to that is maybe this is a game they lose last year. Maybe this is a game they lose in years past. I mean, shoot, I've been doing our segment today in Syracuse history in the pregame show, and I'm looking back at some of these games when Syracuse was ranked top 10 in the country, and they ended up with some close games against teams that they should have blown out of the water, right? Like Morgan State kept it close with them at the Dome, or whoever, Siena. Like, I'm just naming random schools. But so I get it. Sometimes these non-conference games are closer. But when it's a trend, right? When it is repeatedly taking place, you can almost just see the writing on the wall that, like, okay, if this is how they play against St. Joe's and Northeastern, and this is what the final score looks like, and this is what they played like against Hofstra, who's a little bit better than Northeastern and St. Joe's, and they lost that game, what in the heck is going to happen when they play ACC competition? The weird thing is they've played up to the level of competition at times. It's almost like they match the level of who they're playing, which is the result of poor coaching. Good teams just are good. They play their brand of basketball, period, at all times. They go out there and play the same game in and game out. Teams that are not well coached play up and down to the level of competition. Why can you take Houston, a team that played in the national championship game last year, a team that is top 10 in the country, why can you match their physicality, match their relentless effort, and take them to overtime and beat yourself by missing 17 free throws in the game, but then you turn around and lose by a point to Hofstra and let Northeastern be within 5 inside the final minute, win the game by 8, and flirt around and play with your food against St. Joe's and Monmouth and whoever else you want to name? I think that's the reflection of poor coaching. Because good teams are good always. Doesn't matter who they're playing. They win this game by 30. They win an ACC game by 6. But they play their brand. They play their basketball, period. And they don't sway up and down, have this roller coaster with the level of competition that they're playing. Felt like an effort thing at times tonight. Again, coach always goes back to that level 5, but I'm going to continue to go back to when you look at the box score. Second chance points for them, they had 16. I'm going to keep going back to the fast break points, 21 of them. I'm going to keep going back to the fact that Syracuse turned the ball over 11 times in this one. And I'm going to keep going back to the fact that, Syracuse didn't shoot the ball very well from beyond the arc, but there's things that are in your control, which is your effort getting back on defense. Even the points in the paint, they had more points in the paint than Syracuse. They had 40 points in the paint out of their 83 points compared to Syracuse's 36. Even having a guy like William Kyle to protect the rim, how do you allow 40 points in the paint against Northeastern? That felt like an effort thing. So between the 21 fast break points and the 40 points in the paint, that felt like an effort thing today for Syracuse. That just about wraps it up here for us in studio. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Always fun. Let's do it again on Monday. This upcoming week's a little bit shortened with everything, right? We got the holidays. Everybody's spending time with their families. Timmy's out of town. I'm sure Paul's leaving town. I don't know what Paul's plans are, but I'm sure Paul's leaving town. One of our awesome producers behind the scenes. So we wish you well and enjoy hanging out with your families and doing the whole holiday thing. We will have shows, though, at times this week. We'll have pregame coverage on Monday. Pregame coming at you on Monday for the Stonehill game. We'll have postgame as well on Monday. That game is a 7 p.m. tip, so we'll have pregame coverage live at 6 o'clock on Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Syracuse. We'll have postgame coverage immediately following the action. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Syracuse comes away, though, with a win. They do come away with a win. Syracuse advances to 8-4 on the year, 91-83, the final score inside the Dome. Didn't look pretty, but like our man Dave said, listen, let's enjoy the win. Let's enjoy the win. I'll talk to you guys on Monday. Let's talk some more Cuse hoops on Monday, and then I will finally wish you a happy holiday. Talk to you then. Appreciate you. For Paul McCoy producing the show behind the scenes, for our awesome engineer, Tim Becker, helping us out on Saturdays as always, I'm Giovanni Heater saying so long and good night from Syracuse. We'll talk to you on Monday.